everyone, today's topic is needles. So as you can see by my precarious stack here beside me, I've got a bunch of different brands. But rather than focusing on specific brands today, I'd rather teach you a method to be able to tell if a needle is good or not, and also how to figure out what's really going to work for you. That's the most important thing. So over the years, I've been through almost every major brand. I'm not sure there is a brand that I probably haven't tried. Black Claw, Ink Claw, there goes a box. Vertex, Mast, Bishop, V-Select, FYT, Fight. Tons of needles. They're falling all over the place. So I'd like to show you how to kind of examine a cartridge and determine whether it's a good quality needle. Okay, so we've got two needles here. I got a V-Select. This is by Easy Tattoo, I believe, and a Black Claw. These aren't necessarily the needles I use every day. I just wanted to get kind of two brands that were relatively well known, just to compare how I view needles, and this way you can do the same. So let's take a look at the V-Select first. So one thing I also like is when the cartridge is easy to open. Some brands are impossible to open, which drives me crazy. So 90% of needles come from the same three factories. You're gonna have different colors, different cartridge shapes, things like that. But really the main thing I'm looking for at the start is how much play is in the needle. So as you can see here, when you move the plunger bar, you see that needle move around up in this front part in the chamber? That's not good, because what that basically means is as you're working, as you're applying your impressions, if you apply any pressure against the cartridge in the machine, that's going to wiggle that bar around in there. And what that's going to do is that's going to send your needle out at a bit of an angle, and that will mess with ink flow, and you might hear a grinding as this rubs against the back here. So, you know, if I see that on a cartridge immediately, look at that, see that wobble? If I see that, I know I'm not going to particularly love it, because I do generally have some fingers resting against the cartridge when I work. So that is one thing to avoid, I think, in cartridges. Lots of wobble. Now, secondly, let's take a look at the Black Claw here. I do like the way they have a biodegradable packaging. That's quite nice. Again, nice and easy to open, which is important. So we take a look. Again, same kind of setup. However, see, I'm wiggling this around. And although I can't really quite get the focus perfect, but that needle isn't really moving in that cartridge. It's because it has a big stabilizer. See that plastic thing just there? That's a stabilizer. Some of them are very effective, like this one. Black Claw needles are kind of known for how stable they are. Look at that, ain't wobbling. So that means you'll get a lot more of a straight through effect from the needle along the cartridge. And regardless of where you're kind of pushing the cartridge, or, you know, even gravity of the machine pulling it down, you're going to have a cartridge that stays really, really, really straight. And that will really help with ink flow, which I think is kind of the most important thing to get a really effective session, assuming all the cartridges are nice and sharp, which these all are. So anyway, that's a quick little way that I will, before I even try a needle, I'll just play around with that. And that generally will tell you how the needle will perform. There are some exceptions to this, but that is the little trick I use.